Hi, I'm Camille from the Children's Room, and you might be joining me here today because you like to play Roblox. And if you like to play Roblox, you just might like to create things in Roblox, and that's what we are going to do. We are going to start the process of learning how developers create scenes, landscapes, buildings, and even games in Roblox Studio. So I am going to follow some instructions that I found on the Roblox website, and I'm going to include the link below if you would like to print those out and follow along. I'm going to share my screen so you can follow along with me, pause when you need to, and you can rewatch it if you missed something, or fast forward if you don't want to watch me attempt to play and fail many times my game. It's called play testing. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is to log into our Roblox account. You can see I'm logged in, and if you haven't already created a Roblox account, you can go ahead and do that to start out. I talked a little bit about that in my first Roblox video, some of the things that you can do to make sure that younger Roblox users' accounts are monitored a little bit more heavily. If you look up here, it says Teacher Camille 13+. If you're setting up an account for someone under the age of 13, just make sure an accurate birth date is put in there. So you will see, this is, if I go to roblox.com and log in, this is the starting screen. And if you wanted to play games, this is where you would find the games. Since we are going to be making our own games, we are going to hit this button here, Create, and that will take us to Roblox Studio. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, it might take a little bit longer. There's a download every time you go into Roblox or Roblox Studio, but if you haven't done it yet, it'll take a little bit longer. So this is what it looks like when you get in, and if I hit New, it's going to take me to a screen where there are a lot of really fun, I guess you would call these backgrounds that Roblox has created that you can explore. You can modify, create your own game. We are going to start from scratch with just a base plate today. But if you want, you can go ahead and click on one of these. I'm going to click on Pirate Island. I've explored it a little bit. All right. And if I want to drop my player, my avatar, and to play the game, to get into the game, I hit play. It's right up on top there. All right, and there I am. So I move around the games in Roblox Studio the same way that you move around the games when you're actually playing the games on Roblox. So this has taken me a little bit to learn, and I'm sure most of you who are watching right now already know how to navigate your player through games, but I will go through them if there are any adults that are watching and want to learn or just have a refresher. So to move forward, you can use the arrow keys forward and backwards, right? Arrow keys on the keypad. You can do this. In order to turn in that direction, the character always moves straight like that, so you can turn the surroundings to change directions when you're using the arrow keys. All right, and you can also, I'm going to go backwards a little bit, turn around, used W is forward, A, S, D, and S is backwards. So if you don't like doing it with the arrow keys, turning your surroundings, WASD allows you to simply change the direction of the avatar. All right. Now you can either use a touchpad, or if you have a mouse, if you hold the right button down, you can actually look around. Like you can take the surroundings and look around like you are coming from the eyes of the avatar, right? So you can look around by using the right mouse key. So say you wanted to see but not move, you can spin around and around like that. You can even look from underneath or from the top by using that right mouse click key. So This comes in really handy when you're creating, when you're trying to move parts around and see how close they are together from different angles. I'm sure it also comes in handy when you're playing the games, but I'm not that good enough to realize it. So, all right, let's explore Pirate Island. I'm going to take you on the pirate ship because there's something kind of cool that's programmed into this template. All right, let's see if I can make the jump here. Woohoo! I did it on the first try. All right, so if I go over to the cannons, I can fire them by clicking on them. And I figured this out just by playing. I can turn around and I can fire these cannons towards the island. So nothing happens when I fire the cannons because that's not programmed into this template. So that is something that if you took this template and learned how to actually use scripts in your Roblox program, which we are not going to do today, but in a future video I'm going to show you what it's like to actually use scripts, which program all the different things to happen when you are creating a program. All right, today we are going to focus on building, okay? All right, so let's see if I can get off of here. See if I can make the jump. I did it. All right, so. All right, so to get out of the game, you hit stop, which is up here. And then to actually get off the island, I'm going to go to close file. All right, so now I think what we'll do is practice playing an obstacle course game, which is the Obby. So, since we are going to be making an Obby or obstacle course, let's go ahead and click on the Obby. And these obstacle courses, when I think of modern day obstacle courses, I think of that TV show Wipeout. My kids like to watch that, where there's all sorts of fun challenges. And so we'll try to create something like that today. Again, you can drop yourself in by hitting play. And, all right, I'm going to turn. So the object of the obstacle course is to, jump, make all of the jumps and not fall from the sky. Oh, look at that, close. All right. So go ahead and play this obstacle course. Wow. I think I can get to here. There. All right. So you can kind of look at this obstacle course and see now it gets a little bit more challenging. You can see the blocks are placed in like staggered locations. We are going to try and create something like this. So you can go ahead and keep playing. I'm going to play it until you get to the end. How about? That might take me too long. So I'm going to go again, click stop to take myself out of the game. File, close file to take me completely out. All right, so I'm going to pause here and let you play until you're satisfied, and then we'll actually start to create our own obstacle course. All right, so let's go ahead and start building our obstacle course, or our obby. Go ahead and click on base plate. All right, so this is kind of like a blank slate, and like the obstacle course that we played, the template obstacle course, we are going to create an obstacle course that is suspended in the sky, right? So we don't, if we made an obstacle course here and the player fell down onto this base plate, nothing would happen to them. They would just be able to keep running. We're going to make an obstacle course that when the player misses the jump, it's, they're out. They can start over, but basically they're out. So we're going to go ahead, and to get rid of the base plate, we're going to go over to this Explorer window over here. All right, it's on the right-hand side, and then we are going to click on Workspace. Click on the arrow next to Workspace, and we are going to click on Base Plate and hit the Delete button. And there you go. So now we have this blank workspace, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a starting point, right? So some of you who play video games probably know the term spawn location or spawning. Your player spawns. We are going to create what's called a spawn location. It is where the player starts each time they start in the game. So to do that, we are going to go to Workspace again. This time click on the plus on the right hand side of it. And so here we have a frequently used list of objects. If it doesn't come up right away, just keep scrolling through this list until you find a spawn location. And click on it. So that is where your player is going to start. So we can go ahead and play test that, and that is what it's called when you go ahead and test your game, see if it's doing what you intended it to do. So we're going to click on play. And here we go. We started in that spot, our spawn location, and I'm going to just jump. So that's kind of what we wanted it to do, right? We had no place to go. All right, we're going to click stop there. All right, we're going to create our first jump in our obstacle course. So when you create an obstacle course, you want it to start fairly easy, right? You don't want a player to start the game and not be able to complete the first jump, right? Because they'll just stop playing. So maybe start quite simple and then maybe get a little more difficult or complicated after they've played a while. So we are going to start by adding a jump, and we go over to, on the upper menu, we go to Part, and click on it, and we get to choose what shape we want to put into our game. And everything that you see in Roblox is made up of these shapes. All right, so we're going to add a block. All right, and you can see where I placed it. That's obviously not where we want it. So what are some things that we can do now? We can move the block. That's right here, up in the upper left-hand corner. We can scale, and let's click on that, I'll show you. So we're going to move the block by clicking on these arrows and dragging. We can scale the block, and we'll do that by dragging these dots, and that changes the size of the block in those different directions. And we can rotate the block along these different axes. All right? So I'm going to create my first block. I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it a little bit like that. I'm going to scale it, make it big so that even I can make the jump. This. Like that. Alright. I'm having a hard time judging exactly, looking from this angle, how far apart that is. So let's see if I go ahead and rotate it a little bit. Blah. I'm using my arrow keys and using my mouse. Oops. Alright. Another helpful, when you're in Create, some other helpful keys are E, moves things down, and Q moves things up. All right, I still need to rotate a little bit. Oops, not like that. All right, I see. I'm going to extend it a little bit this way. I think I can make that jump. So I'm going to play test. And you're going to see what happens when I go to play test, because there's something that's going to happen and it's not what you want to happen. All right, there I am. I'm in the game. But I'm looking around. Where's my piece? It's not there. So we're going to. Anybody know what happened to it? We're up in the clouds here, right? We're up in the clouds. Where do you think my piece went? It went down. All right, so we're going to stop. It's here. We have to do something called anchoring. So if you look up on the top, every piece that you put in that you want to stay where it's at, you have to anchor. All right, so if you look up here, there's a little anchor. You can see my part was highlighted. I just anchored it. So now even if a player jumps on it, it stays where you placed it. All right, so let's try playing again. There it is. All right, so let's see. Can I make this jump? I thought I could. Yes. All right, so that to me, for my level, is a perfect first jump for my obstacle course. All right. So go ahead and do that, and we'll talk about some other ways that we can change things in our game. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple other tips about placing and moving and scaling parts. Roblox can do different things with your parts depending on how you have things set in Studio. So the first thing I wanted to tell you is when you go ahead and add a part, it adds it right to the center of your workspace. So if you want a little more control over where that part goes, if you back up, you might not be able to judge exactly where it's going to be placed, but if you're zoomed in really close, you'll be able to see if that's, you could, if you wanted it to, for example, be placed in between two parts, if you zoomed in, you could have, let's see if we got another one. Like that's probably more like where you'd want it to go, right? All right, so let's delete that one. So if you want to delete a part, go ahead and you can just highlight it and hit the backspace. All right, we'll add another one. Block. All right, now we're going to go up to the left-hand part of the screen and look in the toolbar and look at collision. So it's check. When we highlight this, you can see it's check for collisions when dragging. So when that is highlighted, right now it's highlighted, I go ahead and I move in this direction, it shows you a collision is happening, right? And it pretty much stops you. You can continue to drag it. It looks like it's dragging along the underside of that one it says boom, we're colliding. If I go ahead and turn collisions off, let's drag again. Whoop, lets you move pretty freely, okay? So you can decide when you're working, I kind of like having collisions on, you can decide what works better for you. So something else that can be kind of helpful in Roblox, if you say you're messing around and you kind of get lost and you just want to quickly get to someplace in the middle of your game, if you click on a part and then click F, it takes you right to that part. It centers that part. So sometimes I use that, and if I get really lost and turned around like that, sometimes I'll click on a part and say, okay, I really want to be here. So I want to be looking at see what it looks like if I'm on the starting point. And okay, do I like what that looks like? Not really. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this part again too. All right, so go ahead and add a few more parts, a few more jumps, and then we're going to talk about how we are going to create a game, a theme to our game. I've already got in my mind some things that I want to do, what I want my end game to look like, and it's not just these plain gray blocks. So go ahead and add a few more blocks, and then we'll talk about how you can change the appearance of some of the blocks, and we'll talk about some other ways to add fun elements to your game. Okay, so I've decided that I want my obstacle course to be kind of like Candyland. So I want bright colors, and my goal is to get to the end to get candy, my favorite candy. So one of the ways that I'm going to change the look of my game is if I click on a part, and I can go edit. If you look up on here under edit, I can edit the color. I click on color, and I can change it to pink. Oh, you know what? I'm on the starting point block, so I guess I'm not changing that one. Let's go over here. Changing the color, and I can change the material. So there's lots of choices. I'm going to go to neon because I like the way it glows. All right, so that's one thing that you can do. You can explore different materials and colors. There's brick and cobblestone. So between colors, materials, and then of course the shapes of the blocks, you can really create an obstacle course with lots of different looks. And another really fun thing to do is to add things to your game from the toolbox. So go over to the left-hand side, you'll see something called the toolbox right here. So I'm going to go into the search bar. So these are things that have already been created in Roblox that you can add to your game. I'm going to search for candy. I'm going to click there and click here to get a better view of all my options here. So these are some of the candies that I can pre-made, I can add to my game. So I'm looking for something that's going to be at the end of my game, what I'm trying to reach. Let's see what looks really good to me. I have it in my brain. I'm not going to tell you what my favorite candy. Ah, they have it. My favorite candy is right here. It's M&Ms. And now look, that is a very large box of M&Ms. So scale it. I'm going to shrink it down. And look at my vantage point here. It's not very good. So let's go ahead and see. There I am. So I've got this box of M&Ms floating. I'm going to leave it there for now because I'm going to put it on my end point. All right. So I'm going to spend some time creating and then play testing my game. I'll leave a fast-forwarded copy of my work in here for you to watch if you'd like. If not, you can fast forward and get to the end where I actually play test my game and talk a little bit about what's next. go. You're going to get to see me play my obstacle course game. Let's see if I can complete my own obstacle course. I made it for a beginner. If you want to try playing it, you can look for it by the name that comes up on the screen there, Candyland by Teacher Camille. All right. Now when I do it, I need to take all of the platforms. My daughter played my game and she could skip some, but I can't do that. All right, this one is tough for me. Let's see if I can make it. Woohoo! Oh! All right, try with me one more time, okay? Hang with me one more time. I will stop and play. I might have to alter my game to make it easier for me. All right, let's go. Let's go, let's go. Whoa, just about made it. Just about made it. Yay! All right, up to the final. My final jump, hooray! All right, watch what I can do here when I grab this coil. What do you think it lets me do? I want to get to the top of my M&Ms, all right? Boing! And that's what it lets me do. All right, look, I almost fell off the back. Let's turn around. Hooray, the victor! Excellent! Yay! All right, so that's how you make an obby. All right, thanks for joining me. I'd love to see what you guys created in Roblox. So if it is okay with your grown-ups, you can look for me on Roblox. My username is Teacher Camille, capital T, capital C. And if it's okay with your grown-ups, you can try and send me a friend request, and then you can tell me about the games that you've created, and you can look for my game, tell me if you were able to get to the candy. And I can also, through the game, let you know about other videos that I'm going to make about continuing to learn how to create things in Roblox. My next video will premiere during Computer Science Education Week. It's going to be on December 8th. It's a Tuesday at 4 o'clock again, and I'm going to create another video that shows how to add scripts in Roblox. And scripts are at the core of game creation. They basically tell the parts of the game what to do and when. So that video will be coming in, as I said, in the first week in December. So between now and then, have fun creating in Roblox and share what you've done with me. All right? Bye-bye. Thanks for playing along.